I look forward to this time every year. I know you do too. It is almost time for Canada Reads. You know the vibe. 5 book champions, 1 book for the whole country to read. Today on the show, the Canada Reads 2025 champions and the books they've chosen. They're ready to go. Let's go. I'm Elamin Abdelmahmoud. This is Commotion. Look, the great Canadian book debate is back, and that means for us on the show, we get to play this music. Come on! We had to. Okay, you know the drill. 5 Canadian celebrities. 5 prides of the nation are seated around the table right now with me. Each one of them has a book that they think the entire country should read. And you, well, you have until March 17th to read all these books, because that is when the Canada Reads debates actually officially begin. But right now, it is time to reveal the identities of the champions and their chosen books. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube right now, you can see their faces. You have a bit of a head start. But if you're listening on the radio and podcast, you don't know it's coming. So I'm really excited to get there. Real quick before we start, I want all of these champions to just answer at the same time. How are you feeling?
Awesome. Awesome.
Okay, I mean, I heard awesome and excited, and then if someone was like, I'm deeply, deeply afraid, I didn't hear it, which is a relief. Okay, so here's how this is going to work. I have the official Canada Reads bell right here beside me. Sounds like this. And I'm going to have each of you introduce yourselves, and then you'll have 30 seconds to make the case for the book that you think all of Canada should read. All right, let's get going. Starting with the champion to my right. You could say this panel has found his sweet spot. You get it? As a pastry nerd on Instagram, now he's hoping to cook up a win on Canada Reads. Panelists, please introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Abdelmahmoud, also known as the pastry nerd, coming from Calgary.
Hey, welcome to the show, pal. Saeed, what book are you defending on Canada Reads?
I'm defending Dandelion by Jamie Chai Yun Liu.
Okay, listen, you have 30 seconds to convince the country that this is the book to read. Let's go.
So Dandelion follows the story of Lily, who was abandoned by her mother when she was still a child. Throughout the book, we keep wondering, why did she do that? And one of the reasons might be that she struggled to adapt to her new life in Canada as a newcomer. This book explores issues such as racism, identity, immigration, and how those issues can deeply affect someone's mental health. This book resonated with me as an immigrant, and I'm sure that it will resonate with many Canadians.
Whoa! Wow!
Wow.
Saeed, I did not think you were going to make that, to be honest with you.
I didn't think so either.
Saeed Mdahoma is championing the book Dandelion by Jamie Chai Yin Liu. Okay, moving on. You might say our next champion has a bit of a home court advantage around here. She's a familiar face on CBC as one of the stars of the hit show Heartland. Panelists, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Michelle Morgan.
Hey, welcome to the show, friend.
Hello.
I'm happy to have you here. Michelle, welcome. What book have you chosen for Canada to read?
I have chosen Etta and Otto and Russell and James by Emma Hooper.
Okay, another novel in the mix. Michelle, you have 30 seconds to tell the country this is the book they should read. Go.
And the past, Etta and Otto meet in a one-room schoolhouse and fall in love through letters sent back and forth from the front in World War II. In the present, Etta now struggles with dementia and sets off on her own from Saskatchewan to Halifax on foot on a journey to make peace with her past. Hooper's writing is so poignant, and it captures the wonder and the hardships of Depression-era Saskatchewan. And her writing is sparing, and it's bare-boned, and it leaves space for the reader to fill in the gaps with our own experiences of love and loss and remembering and forgetting.
Michelle Morgan just squeezing that last word in there. Remembering and forgetting. Michelle Morgan is defending Etta and Otto and Russell and James by Emma Hooper for Canada Reads 2025. Directly across the table from me, I can feel the good vibes coming from this next panelist. She's a wellness advocate. She's also a global yoga ambassador for Elamin. Champion, reveal who you are.
Tansei, hello. I'm Shayla Olette Stonechild, and I'm Red River Métis and Plains Cree from Musqueam First Nations Treaty 4 territory.
Shayla Stonechild, welcome to the show, friend. All right, what book are you holding over there?
So I have A Two-Spirit Journey by Mane Shakabe.
Okay. This is the first nonfiction title of the year here on this table. Are you ready to talk about it? You got 30 seconds to tell the people why this is the book.
So this isn't just a book, it's a call to action. This story follows the life of a two-spirit Ojibwe Cree elder who has overcome immense challenges from addiction to sobriety, from intergenerational trauma to healing, all while staying rooted in her culture and her language and dedicating her life to serving others. This is a testimony to the strength, resilience, perseverance, and love that we have within our bloodlines as Indigenous people.
Okay, first of all, I have a bell, and like so far, I have not had to cut anybody off, and I was really looking forward to that part of the job today. But incredible and beautiful description, and all fit in 28 seconds too, which is just,
there we go.
just
Time
wild.
is fair.
Thank you very much, Shayla Stonechild. She'll be defending a two-spirit journey by Monet Shakabe with Mary Louisa Plummer. All right, our next panelist has won a gold and a silver and a bronze. Is that enough for you? Okay. At the Olympic Games in Tokyo in 2020, she's now on the hunt to be the Canada Reads Crown champion. Who are you?
Hi, I'm Maggie McNeil from London, Ontario.
Come on down. Welcome to the show. Maggie, what book have you chosen for Canada Read?
I am championing Watch Out for Her by Samantha M. Bailey.
Okay, so we got another novel. It's a thriller this time. Maggie, 30 seconds on the clock. Why is this the book that Canada should read?
The thriller genre has been really underrepresented here at Canada Reads, and this is the first thriller in the series of the show. It's a very compelling book about a typical Canadian family. It talks about how, as the story unravels, you see how the secrets between a wife and her husband really make them their worst selves and trying to overcome that. It's very accessible to everyone, as it talks about mainly family, the insecurities and anxiousness of a mother, and the innocence of the child.
Maggie McNeil, you made it just under the bell. That was a beautiful description. Maggie McNeil, the pitch is Watch Out for Her. Samantha M. Bailey's the book. One last book to reveal. When it comes to the bestseller list, this champion can knock anyone off the top spot. He has sold millions of books worldwide. Champion, reveal yourself.
I am Linwood Barclay.
Linwood Barclay, welcome to the show. Linwood, I'm betting that there are rules against defending your own books on Canada Reads, so I don't think you're allowed to do that, right?
Yeah, unless I pull like a last-minute switch. But
What book are you defending?
I am defending Wayne Johnson's Jenny's Boy.
Okay, the nation's listening. You got 30 seconds. Why is this a book?
Well, first of all, they say that for a writer, the best thing that can happen to you is to have a dysfunctional, miserable childhood. And in that regard, Wayne hit the jackpot. He's written this. I've loved his novels for years, but this memoir of his Newfoundland childhood, covering a period of time when he was very sick and living in poverty and a lot of troubles. And this book has been kind of called The Angela's Ashes of Newfoundland. And it's a fabulous book. And as dark as it may be, it's also very funny.
Okay, beautiful. Linwood Barclay will be championing the memoir Jenny's Boy by Wayne Johnston. All right, good job, everybody. Give yourselves a round of applause. I did not have to cut a single person off. That's a little bit upsetting to me, to be honest with you. My name is Elamin Abdelmahmoud, and this is Commotion. We've just revealed the lineup for Canada Reads 2025. One more time, this year's books are Dandelion by Jamie Chai Yin Liu, Etta and Otto and Russell and James by Emma Hooper, A Two-Spirit Journey by Monet Shakabe with Mary Louisa Plummer, Watch Out for Her by Samantha M. Bailey, and Jenny's Boy by Wayne Johnston. All right, let's check in. How's everybody feeling now that we revealed this? Now we're out in the world. How are we feeling?
Relieved.
Excited.
Okay.
Very good.
Well, okay. So, listen, Canada Reads debates, they start March 17th. This year's theme is one book to change the narrative. That's the general framework that they put on this. So I'm asking each of you, what narrative, that your chosen book changed for you? Because, that's the beautiful thing about books is they make us reconsider something that maybe we thought we knew or understand it in a different way. Saeed, I'll start with you.
I think what Dandelion brilliantly does is that it shows that there's not just one immigrant story. There's so many different stories, so many different dreams and aspirations that immigrants can have when they come. And immigrants can be from different socioeconomical status. Some of them struggle, some of them thrive in Canada despite the weather for some reason. And so I think it just changes the perspective that some people might have about immigrants and how diverse immigrants can be.
That's a really beautiful description. I was thinking yesterday about, trying to imagine new immigrants arriving in this country during this polar vortex that is happening right now. You'd get a very specific impression of what it's like to live in this country.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like, for example, for me, I love snow. I love the cold, but my
All right,
wife
don't go
doesn't.
bragging. You know, like,
I was happy yesterday.
yeah.
But some people don't.
Yeah, some people are not happy minus 25 weather. That is true. I can attest to being maybe one of those people. Michelle, what about you? When you think about narratives that this book that you've chosen changed for you, what comes to mind?
Yeah, so obviously in the past, this novel is about how Etta and Otto and their friend Russell come together. But in the present, in the novel, Etta now has dementia and she's in her 80s. But she is setting off on her own on this adventure on foot because she's trying to come to terms with things about her life. And I just loved that there's a depiction of an elderly woman with dementia that's not about pity and sadness and her illness, and it's uplifting and it's empowering. In my family, my mother is currently suffering from dementia, and it's just a beautiful portrayal of something that a lot of Canadians can relate to.
Shayla, as I sort of look at your book, you know, like you have a memoir in front of you, and I think like memoir, I think I probably read more memoirs than any other genre.
Yeah.
And for me, like that's what I look for in a memoir. Is like when I turn to the genre, I'm looking to sort of understand the world through an entirely different point of view. What about this book for you sort of drew you to it? What narrative did it change for you, you think?
For me, I was drawn to this book because it comes from the perspective of a two-spirit elder. I feel like Manet's voice is often not highlighted within mainstream media, but also I have to speak to my own ignorance. I was born in 1994, not 1950, so I don't even know what life was like outside of social media or what life was like living and learning from her grandmother and on the land and having access to learning traditional skills, being fluent in her language, but also she has overcome a lot of things in her life and she remains so selfless and so humble and so grounded and she just loves life. And I was like, wow, for someone to have gone through this much stuff and still be giving so much to others and not expecting anything in return, I think that's something that we can all learn from as Canadians.
So I say like the book title is A Two-Spirit Journey, but do you want to read the subtitle of it because it's the autobiography of, do you want to read the rest of it?
The autobiography of a lesbian Ojibwe Cree elder.
I just can't wait to see you sort of get into all the details of what comes out
There's a lot
in the book. Maggie, so let's talk about the thriller. This is the first thriller for Canada Reads. As you were reading this book, what narrative do you think it engaged you in and made you maybe think differently about?
Yeah, for me, my reading history is very unique. I think there was a period of time where I was only reading academic work for my classes, and it really brought me back to the joy of reading that I had as a child. And I think for me, you don't have to read a book to necessarily learn something. You can read something because you simply enjoy it. And as someone that picked up reading more vigorously later in life, hopefully this book will encourage others. If they haven't kind of started that journey for themselves, it will hopefully inspire them too.
Yeah, there's something about like engaging in reading and telling people what you're reading that like is sometimes framed as like a virtuous thing. When I was like, it could just be fun. It could just be like something that transports you into a different universe and sort of like constructs that world for you. Do you think that's what that book did for you?
Definitely. And I mean, I'm in a different point in my life and I have more time for reading. But I just love feeling suspense and trying to figure out what's going to happen at the end.
Linwood Barkley, I think you might know something about feeling suspense and knowing what's going to happen at the end. Is that a familiar feeling for you, pal?
Very much. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I'm just, but you know, but I was very happy to choose a memoir as opposed to the kind of thing that I write myself.
Yeah.
And if there's one thing maybe that we can take from Jenny's Boy, as we think about sort of current events, I mean, I think we have a tendency to think, I know that I do, that things are really bad now, and they're really, globally, I mean, on so many different fronts. And we think, has it ever been as bad as it is now? And then you get into the pages of Jenny's Boy and think, man, that was rough then. And so somehow, I don't know if we even realize, and I don't think that Wayne did when he wrote this. I did a memoir a few years ago, and I didn't realize when you're going through something that's really terrible, I don't think sometimes that you know how bad it was until you get some distance. And then you look back and think, how did I get through that? And I sort of think you read this and you think, and I think this is true of Shayla's book too. I think that you think if Wayne could get through this and go on to become an accomplished novelist and make a name for himself, then maybe we can get through what's going on now.
Is that a comfort to you? Like, you're sort of turning to a memoir that says, like, this was a really rough time. And actually, like, one of the lessons is we can navigate this, and these are the tools that we need to navigate this.
No.
Okay, it's not a comfort to you.
No, I'm far too cynical.
Okay, all right.
But it helps a little.
Okay.
Yeah, it helps a little.
Yeah, I think like that's a good start. It's a good start to sort of like,
Yeah.
sort of position yourself and say like, I'm looking for a bit of comfort here. I'm looking for some tools to sort of navigate the moment.
And I think the real gift that Wayne has in this book is that he does take what, objectively looks like a very difficult time and finds the humor and the absurdity in it. And I think that's a real gift.
Now, I have to say, you guys have spent, yesterday mostly doing like the photo shoots in preparation for like the launch of this official announcement that you guys are kind of like out there. This is like maybe your first time sitting around a table talking about your books like this, and there will be, obviously more and more opportunities leading up to the debates themselves, but the job now is for you to go and read your book and then go and read the rest of the books and then figure out how you want to navigate the idea of this is, after all, a debate show. And like, there's something to be said about a collaboration, but there's also something to be said about being like, no, I'm here to stand firm, in defense of this book. That's not necessarily an easy thing. Michelle, can I ask you, who are you most afraid of in the room? Is that
I have to say, I came into this thinking like, oh, we're all going to be friends. We're all going to win. We're all winners here. But then I realized that I'm up against an Olympic champion who's very competitive.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, Maggie is on the ball. And then she teased me as an elder millennial for the way I was using my cell phone trying to airdrop her photos. So I was like, gloves are off.
Yeah. Wow, gloves are off before day one even starts. Maggie, do you hear that and go like, yeah, you should be afraid of me? Is that your vibe?
For sure. I mean, I've spent the better part of 16 years learning to go up against the best, so I'm ready to bring it, and I think it'll suit me well for my future career as well. So it's combining everything, and I'm excited for it.
Can I just say, I heard that you didn't know what Canada Reads was, and then your dad was like, this is maybe better than the Olympics. Is that a real thing that happened?
Yeah, he actually said, this is cooler than the Olympics. So when I heard that, I was like, okay, I have to research what this is, but I definitely wanted to participate.
Linwood, I think you have an interesting challenge here because you are a writer and you're defending another writer's work, but also like you're engaging with other writers too.
Sure.
And like it'll be maybe easy for you to say, on a writing level, I don't know if that particular book works. And like those are going to be maybe tools that you choose to resort to or choose to hold back from.
I think my worry is I'll be seen as the sort of elitist publishing jerk. It's going to go pick at these books in ways that the others wouldn't. I think the hard thing for me is I'm happy to go into combat with everybody else on the table. What's harder for me is to be really cruel about a book because, I've written more than 24 books, and there are some that I'm more proud of than others. And I know that it can just destroy you, and it takes every bit of blood, sweat, and tears, even to write a bad book. So to sort of rip apart some of these other authors, that will be very hard for me. So I'm going to look for what makes this one better than this one, as opposed to what makes this one look not so hot.
Shayla, did you notice that he just very casually was like, I've written like more than 24 books. Very casually. Like he was just like, oh, just by the way, don't worry about it. I can't even keep track of the number of books that I've written. Does that make you go, wow, I got to find a deeper competitive person inside of me? Like what do you
Well,
hear?
even just the words like rip apart. I was like, wow. I was like, I wasn't going to rip apart anyone else's books, but now I guess it's on. So
I do think like a part of the Canada Reads journey is people. It's the friends to enemies pipeline. It's like sort of a reverse pipeline of I'm here to make some friends and talk about some books. Doesn't that sound lovely? And then one person shows up and says, no, the competitive vibe is actually a little bit different. And then other people have to find a different competitive gear. Is that going to be easy for you think?
I'm actually really good at debating something when I really know it. And so I'm really excited to getting to know this book on an even deeper level because one thing about my family is they know they don't want to debate with me. They won't because it'll last like 2 hours. So I'm coming with that same energy that I come with within my family and my friends.
I will say you also have the competitive edge in terms of being the only one around this table who has been on a reality show. It was Amazing Race. Having said that, Amazing Race Canada, did that go well for you, would you say?
So I don't like running. And I found that out mid filming.
Yeah, that's a challenging time to find out you don't like running in the middle of filming Amazing Race Canada, I would say. Saeed, I feel like your vibe is going to be a little bit different because like you're like, I teach people how to make pastry on Instagram and it's a really nice time and it's very pleasant. And then you got to step into this space and you got to go, all right, gloves are off. You got to find, got to come to the table with a bit of aggression, maybe.
So I think that the persona that I'm gonna bring is actually the scientist in me. So I have a PhD in neuroscience, and I'm used to debate about facts and science and academic books. So I will bring that persona, and maybe also the pastry nerd persona to sweeten this up.
Honestly, the idea of like bringing the scientist and also bringing a little bit of sweetness.
Yeah, just to make it a little bit more palatable.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he just used a cooking pun to make his case, so I would be worried about him. He's got a lot of tricks up his sleeve. Linwood, I got to ask you, there's something really lovely about in the middle of all of this. We were talking yesterday about this idea of, hey, do we ever really know if the time that we existed is worse or better than previous times? There's something really lovely to me about Canada Reads because it's an opportunity to say we are going to spend some time talking about books and the ways that they shape us and the way that they maybe broaden our world. In this moment, what do you think a competition like Canada Reads can represent?
Oh, gee. And let me just briefly go back just in defense over the 24 books thing.
Yeah.
As the only,
you don't need a defense, pal.
No, as the only member of the panel who gets CPP, I've had time. I've had lots of time to get these done.
Yeah.
But I think what's great about, one of the things we worry about in the publishing business and who write books is that there's so much competition for our time now. And, it used to be in the past, you would sit around in the evening and you'd read a book. Well, now you're binge watching 24 or you're binge watching Heartland or you're scrolling on your phone for hours on end. Yeah. So the real challenge is to get people to pick up a book and read it. And so that's what I love about Canada Reads is that we're celebrating books and we're getting people excited about them by having this kind of, very friendly competition. So I think that's a great thing.
Yeah, Michelle, what do you think Canada Reads represents in this moment?
Oh my gosh, I completely agree with Linwood, and I think it's actually also a great opportunity to shine a light on lesser known authors because there's always the top sellers, there's the ones that you grab at the airport, but an author like Emma Hooper, who I will start defending right now, is so talented, and no, really, just to have the opportunity for more people to read these authors is I think the best thing about it.
Did you see that? Did you see what she just did there, Maggie? Did you register that? She's already starting defending her book before we even get to the competition day.
They hadn't even fired the gun yet.
Or started the bell.
I will say, I think we were talking yesterday. I think you're the furthest along in terms of reading the other books. What is your preparation process as you start to think about, all right, let's get to the competition part?
I think I'm approaching it similar to I approach my training. I've read most of them already. I've already done 2 readings of mine.
Wow.
And been taking detailed notes as well.
See what I mean?
And I was looking.
Shayla looks worried. That's what just happened just now.
And I was lucky enough to meet Sam in studio yesterday and do an interview with her. So I did get to hear a little bit about her process and how she came up with the characters and the plot, which hopefully will keep that communication going. And then maybe that'll be my edge here.
What I like about that is that really felt like putting you guys on notice. It was I've already read all your books and I've read mine twice. What is your preparation? Saeed, what is that face? What is that face that you're making right now?
That's the face of someone who's worried. I only read my book, but that's strategic.
Yeah.
I want to read the other books right before the competition, just to make sure that I'm as sharp as possible, that I know every detail of every single book. I want to be prepared.
I mean, I got to say, again, we are talking now. This competition is not till March. You got a bit of time to prepare, a bit of time to, now that you've had a chance to hear everybody else's strategy, sort of reassess where you're at and how you're feeling about it. So I just want to say thank you to all of you for being here. This has been a delight. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I can't wait to see you guys all compete in Canada Reads. Thank you so much again.
Thanks for having
us. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yes, of course. Thank you. All right. Thank you for everyone for coming in today. Your Canada Reads champions once again are Saeed Abdelmahmoud, Michelle Morgan, Shayla. Wow, this piece of paper has misspelled. Shayla Stonechild, Maggie McNeil, and Linwood Barkley. Ali Hassan will be hosting the debates from March 17th to the 20th. You can find out more about the books at cbc.ca/Canada Reads. In the meantime, I got to tell you about tomorrow's show. Okay, so tomorrow's show, of course, tomorrow is the day where we talk about the big pop culture stories of the week. The Oscar nominations just came out today. A few big stories coming out of that. For example, we talked about Nickel Boys earlier this week. That movie ended up getting a Best Picture nomination. That's a big surprise for a lot of people. Also, Denis Villeneuve, the great Canadian director, snubbed out of the director category, even though Dune 2 ended up getting a nomination for Best Picture. A lot to get into. We'll get into that. We'll get into the new SZA movie that is out right now. In the meantime, we will see you tomorrow. My name is Elamin Abdelmahmoud. This show is called Commotion. See you tomorrow.